Hello and welcome to my GLP Interaction video number 1. After interviewing Tae about his high school experience in Korea, I actually did find a lot of things different about my own high school experience. I think the most common theme that kept coming up as I was asking him questions about the top 3 things he worried most about in high school was pleasing his parents. That seemed to be a big thing for him. And I feel like part of the reason this could have been was that his parents may have been raised in a tough environment, and perhaps they hadn't really adapted to modern day society as well. A few other things that came up when we talked about what worried him in high school was obviously keeping all A's. His parents always pushed for him to keep studying and getting good grades, and also getting into a good college and doing whatever was necessary to get into that college. So he joined orchestra, and he was also involved in a few clubs. I could relate to getting good grades and trying to get into a good college. That's something I really focused on while I was in high school. But the one thing that really stood out to me was pleasing my parents. My parents almost seemed like the exact opposite. They had a very hands-off approach when it came to guiding us. Since I'm a triplet and I'm one of 5, they had enough to worry about, and they really let me do my own thing as long as I was getting good grades and studying. And on a similar note, when we started talking about what made him happy in high school, praise from his parents kept coming up and up. He also mentioned hanging out with friends and computer games like League of Legends, MapleStory, and StarCraft. But again, I found it really interesting that he valued praise from his parents so much, because that was really one thing in high school that I didn't really strive for. He also mentioned that when he knew he had a big test coming up, he would start studying like a week before, and every day after school he would have a review session with a friend or alone for hours a day. This was different for me in high school. I didn't really start a week before. Now in college I have to, but in high school I would only start a day or two before because the material really, it wasn't necessary. He also brought up how he had a lack of sleep on those days on the week leading up to exam, which is something I rarely experienced in high school. I found it that I could get 8 hours of sleep if I really wanted to, and I would be okay. Overall, throughout the whole interview while he was talking, the way he was talking about it, everything seemed very normal to him. Well, in my mind, all I kept thinking about is how much his school sounded like a private school. He said that he had a uniform and that teachers were very strict, which is something I cannot relate to at all since I went to a public school. Overall, it was a very eye-opening experience, and I'm actually excited for my next interview with him.